So you've decided to take the plunge and step into the mysterious world of fly tying and whatever this stuff is. That's cool. Fly tying's certainly a fun and interesting way to expand your fly fishing experience. In this video, hopefully we can cover off what you need to get started, troubleshoot some of the challenging areas, and perhaps give you some advice on what to do and also what not to do. Right, let's get fired into it. As I said, fly tying's certainly an awesome pursuit. It adds variety to your fly fishing and also probably builds greater confidence in your abilities as an angler as you learn more about flies and the application of those flies when you're out on the water. So what do you need to get started? Always an interesting question, and with all fly anglers you want to buy everything because we seem to be magpies by nature of all shiny. The starting point is you don't need everything. You need a small amount of things to get you started, to figure out if fly tying is for you, and hopefully we can run through those quite quickly. So up first in getting started, you need some tools and a vise. I've done a little bit of research this morning. Tools and vise you could probably get for about £30 to £35 depending on brand and where you shop. It's not too bad, nice little starter kit, get you up and running. Threads, tinsels, flash and wire. Need a few different colours at this point. I would probably stick with black, white, red, blue and an olive green. Probably also want to purchase some hooks, so I would recommend going for a size 10 at this point because it will give you that variance in what you can tie between lures, wet flies, buzzers and the like. Probably also want to buy some beads. Orange or red would probably be a good starting colour. You're going to need something to seal the fly, so super glue, varnish or a UV resin. Just be mindful that a UV resin will be more expensive given that you need to buy a UV torch, and also double check that you're not allergic to UV resin. I found that one out the hard way. Also probably want to get some wax for your thread because that's always useful. And as far as other materials that you probably want, you want to probably get some marabou, some goose bites and also some seal's fur and cock hackles, and that will give you a nice range of flies that you can tie from those materials. Colours, I would probably stick with blacks or an olive at this point for those materials. If in doubt, absolutely speak to the people in your local fly shop. They will no doubt help you build your first little starter package, and if they're good people, which they usually are, they might even do you a little deal in sorting out your package. So from that list you might be thinking, can't really tie much from that perspective. You'd be surprised what you can tie with the materials that I've just listed. Things between damsel lures, cormorants, buzzers, snatchers, dowbacks, variants of hare's ear style wet flies. Certainly a good 5 to 10 flies that I can think of off the top of my head in different variations and varieties that will allow you to practice and hone those skills that you need to further develop and progress into tying different, more complex flies that require variants of skills. So when you start fly tying, things to do. absolutely speak to other people that tie flies and ask them questions and annoy them. That's certainly what I did. I was on Facebook looking at all of the well-known names and faces from YouTube fly tying, such as Mr. Lindsay Simpson, Mr. David McPhail, and pinging these guys messages asking all sorts of stupid questions. And thankfully these guys are all very helpful and responded and answered all of my queries. Other things to consider that are definite recommendations: watch plenty of videos on fly tying. David McPhail absolutely needs to be watched, is a must. Stuff that Lindsay Simpson does is absolutely superb also. Lindsay's very good at explaining things, he takes his time, and the pace and delivery of the technique being used is absolutely superb. Someone else I would also recommend looking at on YouTube is Mac Flies, and I'll include some links to some of the stuff that's in there. Stuff that Mac's doing is really nice, certainly as a beginner, and again the pace of delivery is superb in bringing you on and bringing you along and showing you different techniques. Other things to consider at this point: it takes time to build a level of skill. Fly tying is a little bit like learning to drive a car, in that sense of eventually with enough time in, things start to click into place. Your ability to gauge and measure proportions, where to start, where to stop, how many thread turns to use, how much of a material to use, will start to fall into place, and you will start to build a level of consistency in your flies. And one day you'll just look back and go, don't know quite how we got here, but yeah, quite happy with this fly. My other big piece of advice at this stage is be brave, be bold with your fly tying. I'm not saying you need to go out and start tying, Irish loch style wet straight off the bat. But look at the flies that people are tying online and look at the flies that you like to use. Be bold and be brave and try them. That's certainly how you progress and move on. Don't play it safe would be my advice. First couple of times it's not going to turn out right. It really does. Even now when I tie flies, there's definitely a few that don't make the box or have an introduction to the Stanley knife because I'm reclaiming the hook. Things not to do when you begin fly tying: do not buy every material in the shop. It is tempting, certainly have been there, certainly probably bought too many materials near the start. Start small and build from there. Don't try going it alone, would also be a recommendation. Utilise YouTube and utilise the videos. Yes, fly tying books are certainly useful to understand how a fly is constructed, but in fly tying, learning through watching is a surefire way to bring you on that little bit quicker with that tutorial style overlay of explanation. Don't get disheartened early doors. It does take time, takes a lot of hours to get to a point of competence, is what I would say. Now, I don't tie the best flies ever. I tie at an okay level and I'm still learning, but you certainly, with all of these things, get out what you put in. It's the same as with your fly fishing, your casting and the like. You develop the more you put into it, so be curious and get involved. Well folks, hopefully you found that useful as a starting point and a little short video on starting fly tying. As always, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a comment. Be great to hear from you, and hopefully see you soon. Tight lines. Cheers.